Hey everyone, Internet PCS book reader here. Today I want to talk about The Woman in Me by Britney Spears. As a 90s kid, I first heard about Britney Spears along with every other 90s kid with MTV and Baby One More Time. She went on to make some of the most hit pop singles at the time with Oops, I Did It Again and Toxic. It was a time where I only ever listened to music from TV. I did not really follow music news and celebrity news since at the time the internet was not really a thing. So besides those singles, I don't know a single thing about her, not even any albums. There need to be some news big enough that everybody is talking about it around the world. And then the somehow infamous event happened where she shaved her head and the public mental breakdown that follows. It was a weird time where we have yet to see paparazzi and drama channels as lesser than cockroaches. This was before we know for sure about all the weird things that celebrities, or more specifically, the higher ups of people in power, are weird people, to say the least. This was before the Weinstein and before the Me Too movement. At the time, I went along for the ride along with many other people throughout her somehow so public life even when I don't follow the news. That's how mainstream news about Britney Spears was at the time. Besides that, I don't know anything else after that, especially during the time I don't have any way to get news or anything, especially since at that time I was at the pretentious phase of I don't care about celebrities unlike other people. So I mostly stayed ignorant about celebrity news and I kinda still is. Everything I know about her is mostly just the unavoidable singles during the time she's known as the pop princess. So mostly just through osmosis. It is only decades later when the Free Britney movement became viral. It's one of the few rare cases where a celebrity news actually opens up more about all of our suspicion on how insidious the music industry is. We got to know more detail about the conservatorship here and how limiting it is for Britney Spears while her father reaps all the benefit both financially and publicly. Speaking of parents that don't deserve child, well that's like the one at My Broken Mariko is worse for many other reasons, but Britney's death also takes the cake for worst death. The conservatorship thankfully ended, and this book is one of the earlier time where for the longest time Britney got to voice her own thoughts again. The book starts with Britney as a child. Like a lot of children where their parents went into a yelling match on the daily, she tried to spend her days out of home. Her escape is taking a walk into the woods for as long as possible and singing, trying to make silly little video about Mariah Carey. Britney herself is not the first victim of abuse in the family. Her grandmother Emma Jane Spears was married to June Spears Sr., who was Britney's grandfather. He was an abusive man in the household, so abusive that Jane lost a 3-year-old baby and was sent to an asylum where she was put on lithium. Yes, the toxic thing for batteries that children on Game Boy was told to be careful. She took the exit from life with a shotgun in 1966, ending her own suffering. It's 1966, a time where our understanding of mental health is still overly bad, and a time where woman be crazy is never used unironically. June the grandfather was of course still viewed as a good man, although maybe, just maybe, slightly too perfectionist. But other than that, he got to raise Britney's father like he's playing Call of Duty character where it's fine if you get shot, just stand in the corner for a while, it'll heal. June went on to have 10 children with 3 different wives, where he also sent the second wife to the same lithium asylum. He mellowed out near his death, but the damage has been done to Britney's father. He grew up to be mean and alcoholic, and a mean alcoholic is a bad kind of mean. Britney's father grew up playing basketball when he met Lynn Portel, and they married and had their first children, Brian. Britney's father even opened up his first gym during this time, the Total Fitness Gym, that was successful for only a short time. Almost got divorced by Lynn for being a drunkard and then having Britney. You will think that after everything that happened, Britney will write a story that easily made her father into purely the villain of her story, but she loved him almost to a fault where she can still find some understanding and justification on why he was being who he is as a person. Unfortunately, who he is a hurt person who, because he did not process his own hurt, turns that hurt into people he should have cared more. He was abusive not only to Britney but also to Brian and even to Lynne, his children and wife, so much that when he was gone, the house is a better place to be. This also caused some rift between the children and the mother due to their fighting. Remember that this was the time before our understanding of mental health and therapy is still much lower than now. Everything in the house is out of control, so Britney at that time goes further into going to talent show and training to sing, to dance. This was starting right out when she was 5. so she missed a lot of the phase where she's supposed to be growing up. But at least there is this one thing where she was good at something and can feel good about being good at something. Something that in hindsight she naively believed was in control, especially now that we know more about the exploitation that happened in this kind of talent show. In this talent show, she even met some recognizable names like Kerry Russell, Christina Aguilera, Mary Thomas, Ed McMahon, who asked the little Britney if she had a boyfriend or not. She even got an offer to be an understudy in a Broadway musical along with Natalie Portman. After that, she joined the Mickey House Club and became a Disney kid along with Christina Nicki, Deloach Carey, Ryan Gosling, and Tony Luca. She also got closer to Justin Timberlake here. It's kinda cool hearing about how he met Max Martin. He can be considered a has-been right now, but back then every hit song ever was made by this guy from Sweden, Max Martin. Then they made a debut album that made her a household name immediately. Because the writing is so matter of fact and the only judgment was to Britney at her younger self, you can see even more clearly on her life story. There's the same cadence at her saying about people at interview asking the 16-year-old her about her breast, and to her saying she went to a basketball game at her school. Meanwhile, 16-year-old Britney started getting into more public scrutiny, where people are blaming a kid like her for setting a bad example for kids. Instead of the industry, it was a dumber time truly. She started taking antidepressant here to handle the stress. But at least her relationship with Justin Timberlake is going well? Well, depends on your definition of well. He cheated on her multiple times, then got her pregnant, and then pushed her to have a home abortion so the news didn't caught on, and then he dumped Britney via text message, and then used her as lyric for his new album, which had songs that implied that Britney cheated on him, besides the fact that he cheated on her. And this was before Justin Timberlake dropped the train record that is Man of the Woods and starred in the movie Friends with Benefit. He wasn't known as the cringe white boy yet, so everyone just ate his word and his songs. While she still kept herself busy, she kinda spiraled after this. This was a time where TV shows and content did not get as much critical looks into them. The news and tabloid always looks for something to put her on the cover, and then bring Justin Timberlake again and again. An interview with Diane Sawyer was especially infamous now. Meanwhile, paparazzis are hounding her for a chance to see her without makeup or fat or anything else that can be used to found some juicy negative contents. All this vague and there's not one good person in her life including her family. The next guy she got married to was another bad guy who got her to become pregnant back to back. So all this mental problem that she hadn't dealt yet plus perinatal depression squared by 2. No. And then she got another divorce that separated her from her child and got involved with another bad dude who works as a paparazzi. Well, parts of the bad stuff that happened was partially her own doing, but as if all this was not bad enough, the conservatorship hit her. This is the infamous one that I'm sure everyone already know unless they've been living under the rock. This is when Britney's dad took over everything she had, including her own freedom, and claimed it as his own. This deadbeat alcoholic somehow managed to convince everyone that he can be the manager of Britney Spears' life. And the guy so clearly don't know what he's doing because he's a deadbeat alcoholic boomer. He even sent Britney to rehab for taking pre-workout and some vitamin supplement, then make her only eat portion chicken and canned vegetables, which only make her look more bloated. No wonder his gym was shut down. He's dumb. But she was alone at this time, so the conservatorship stays for 13 years. It got so bad until at one point, her father can put her in asylum for months for no good reason. I cannot even imagine how she felt at the time seeing the Free Britney movement that started because there are strangers that actually care for her safety during her most vulnerable moment. Because after that, she started trying to take control back actively, including attempting to get her own lawyer by suing her father and making the hearing public. And because she started making this move under the world watchful eye, for the first time in a long time, she's finally free now. Well, as with any celebrity memoir, you need to take it with a grain of salt, but this is an amazing story to tell and an amazing story to read. Rarely a celebrity news had some substance to it, and rarely a person can go through so much and live to tell the tale, which I for one am glad that she get to tell them in her own voice. The strength is shown by defying all odds, and a look into how insidious an industry fueled by fame and money can be is such a compelling story that is such a shame to miss. She might make mistakes in the future just like people do, but for now, maybe she finally for the first time in such a long time got a chance to experience growing up in her own term, not the term defined by the entertainment and music industry, and not the term defined by her father or her family or the cultural vulture surrounding her, but her own. And I wish her for the best on this journey. I give this book a 4. What do you think? Are you gonna read it? Did I miss anything? Leave your thoughts in the comment below and subscribe to the channel. That's about it.